Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you are tuning in from. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are on episode 2 of our brand new session, The Inclusive Classroom. And my name is Teresa Castro.
And I am Ricardo Vecinos. And before we start, Teresa, I wanted to say, go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers!
You might notice that we are actually sacrificing our time to be here today because we love you guys and we love our series. And you might be aware that we are missing the Dodger game right now, but we are there in spirit. Go Dodgers. But let's go ahead and get started.
All right, again, thank you so much for being with us. Our episode today will be all about translators in the classroom and with families. We're so excited to share all these things with you. We've been using it with our district for the last few years, and we're so excited to go over them tonight. So let's go on to our next slide. So we're not going to go through this whole thing, but our purpose today is to discover ways to make instruction accessible to all students. I'm down at the bottom, Ricardo. I'm sorry. I like to, wing things. I'm sorry. But what we're going to be going over today is we're going to explore essential tools such as PowerPoint subtitles. We're going to be going over Present Live, Microsoft Translate. Did I spell that right? Yeah, Translate app. And of course, our non-purpose, as always, as we never expect you to throw out whatever you've been doing. We just want to add to your tool belt, right? And we don't want you to feel limited to what is shared today.
And to be honest, you might notice that we are going to be very heavy on Microsoft. We do give love to Google and Microsoft, but when it comes to this particular topic, we think that Microsoft does a way better job, and you're going to find out why in a second.
Okay, before we move on to the next slide, Ricardo, I think you're right. I skipped over the objective because I was trying to save time, but I think it is really important to kind of get back and grounded to why we are doing the series in the first place. So I'm going to go back and actually go over that, especially for those who weren't
are you
with us.
saying that I was right then? Just checking. Okay.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't. So our objective overall for this whole session is to discover ways to make instruction accessible to all students, regardless of level, language, or disability. Explore online tools that provide an inclusive experience for every student. So that is what our whole series is about. So we are in episode of that series. So I'm sorry I skipped it, Ricardo. I know you're right. Very important to be grounded back to our purpose.
I just want to make sure that you guys remember that she said I was right.
Okay. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. What does that mean to you, Ricardo?
Wow. I think we kind of touched on this last week. And just thinking about my experience, right? And my mother's experience, I will say that whenever she was going with me through that school experience when I was a student, she always felt powerless. She always felt that she couldn't be part of my experience as a student because she didn't have that language, and that was a huge barrier for her. So I think that not being able to communicate and be able to take part in my student experience was kind of hurtful to her. And I think what you meant is that it really went to her heart. And I think if she would have felt included, and we had the tools that we're going to show today, she probably would have felt included in my experience. And I mean I know she's proud of me, but at the same time she couldn't understand the struggles that I went through because of that language barrier.
Absolutely. And I that's why we're so excited to do our session today, because not only are we talking about the students, we're talking about families here, and we're talking about all stakeholders when it comes to their education. So all of these tools will work in all areas. So I really like how you put all of that, Ricardo. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so why? We always have to know why. Why are we doing what we're doing today? The reason why we want these translators and other tools is we want to give access to curriculum and instruction, give equal access to all students, right, regardless of language. Inclusiveness, integration, we want to bridge the communication gap. We want cross-language understanding and collaboration. So not just communication between you and the student, but with one another and with families. And that's why we're going over these tools today.
And just to add to that, I think that if you get something out of this today is that we are saying that this is a form of support, not a solution. Okay, so it's just a form of support that we want to give our students to be able to feel included and to have that experience that all of the other students have.
Right. So here are some examples of why you would even use these tools or how you would use them. You would use them with your language learners students, of course. Go ahead.
And can I give a sample of this?
Yeah.
before COVID happened, we had a elementary class at a district where they had just welcomed two students from China, and the teacher was having such a hard time trying to communicate and make them feel part of the classroom because the kids did not speak the language at all.
Right.
To the point that the teacher, trying to help them, took one of her students in that class that did speak Mandarin, put him next to them to try to translate and kind of bring it into the class culture.
That's
But what we
hard.
noticed was that this particular kid who was trying to be helpful now was falling behind because he was trying to do his work
Mhm.
and also try to help these students, from his heart, trying to be a good classmate. So we came in, we brought a device, we used one of the tools that Teresa is going to be demoing today, and
Yes.
then the moment those two students were able to see what the teacher was saying in their own language, you should have seen their eyes. They felt like they were part of the classroom, and to be able to ask questions in their own language related to the class lecture, and to be just included was just such a big, 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 big change for them that made them feel part of the class culture. So that was kind of an example for that particular example up there. Yeah.
Right. And how, I mean, how often as teachers, especially with the population that we service in our district, have we received students who've joined our classes who have zero English, and what do you do for the students? What you want to do everything, but you're so limited. So I just wish that these tools were around during those times. And, when I was a kid too, my teachers actually thought I was mute because I didn't speak for a whole year. Did I ever tell you that?
I think you mentioned it in the last. Oh, you told me that before. I mean,
I
I mean,
didn't
yeah.
for a whole year because I was a language learner and I was not confident in my English at all. And I didn't understand a lot of the instruction that was provided. And I just, whenever I see these tools now, I think to myself, wow, if I only had something like that when I was in school, that would have made a world of difference for me at that time. But anyways, enough about me. Let's continue. Sorry, Ricardo. Other examples are multilingual parent and teacher conferences. So you definitely have those. Right. Go ahead. I know you want to say
I,
something
I
about
was
that.
gonna say that we've seen this too. I mean, I've seen a principal at one of our schools use the app that we are gonna demo today. Put the phone on his pocket
Yeah,
and
I
be
saw
able
that.
to be speaking English while he has, I don't know, 50 parents in that media center, and you have a couple of parents following in Mandarin while other parents are following in Spanish, while other parents are following on a different language, and everybody's able to communicate and be able to talk about what's important for their students in one room, and that just brings everybody together.
Right. And I think the thing that amazed me the first time I saw that is that all of the parents could be on their own language. It wasn't, pick one. And I know, like, if you're having a back to school night or something for parents who are primarily within the same language, you could do what Ricardo is doing right now. You could see the translation at the bottom, with most parents will benefit from. But you do have those other parents who speak other languages. He'll be going over that later. I'm getting too excited already. Sorry. So you can use these for like back to school nights, for study groups. So it's not just for teacher communication, also for the kids so that they can communicate with one another, just simple conversations. All of these things are so important to make it an inclusive classroom. Every time they need to communicate, these tools would help them. So yes.
Yes, I completely agree.
Oh, look at the thing on the right. Don't forget about that.
Oh yes, and then our great friend Mike, who we really learned a lot from him,
Yes.
just tweeted this last week, and just the ability for us to have Microsoft Translator now serving more than 100 languages and removing language barriers for over 5.66 billion people, and they keep adding more and more languages as they go along. It's pretty amazing.
Wow, and I think I just checked it. Was it last year or the year before? It was only 60. So it's just growing and growing and growing. That's amazing.
And one thing that we must say, because we want to be fair to Google and Microsoft again, it's that for whatever reason, Microsoft uses artificial intelligence that is actually able to analyze what you're saying, put it in context, and the translations are just so much better. As I'm reading what's being
For now.
said in English and looking at it right now, the
Hmm.
translation is just way, way better. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right. So are you ready?
Yes, let's go ahead and start. So, what we want to start with today is we want you to know how we are doing this at the bottom when you are seeing the subtitles in Spanish as we speak English. Very, very simple. If you are on PowerPoint, and I'm on the Office 365 version of PowerPoint, so we just have a PowerPoint right here. And then over here, by default, you're always going to be home. Okay. But if you move to the right and you go to slideshow, over here, you have this amazing tool that says always use subtitles. Okay. So if I go in here and I go to the drop down arrow, I can click on it and I can tell it that I am going to be speaking English. Okay. And I can tell it that I want subtitles. It doesn't have to be subtitles. It could be captions too. Think about that student that might benefit from the captions too. I can do English to English if I wanted to, and it will basically have the same effect, right? You will see the captions in English, right? But I can come and pick all of these different languages. As you saw, we were doing Spanish before. So for this particular exercise, let's use Chinese traditional, okay? So let's just go ahead and go to that one, okay? And when I pick that, I also have the ability to tell it where I want it. Do I want it below the slide? Do I want it above the slide, and or I want it on the bottom overlaid or on top? That's completely up to you. I like to have it on the bottom always, but now when I go and click on my PowerPoint presentation, you're going to see that I'm going to click and it's going to start listening to me, okay? The first time you use it might ask you to allow the mic to work, but now it's kind of thinking and it's going to start working in a second. It should start doing the translations right there. Notice that it took a while, but now that
Wow.
it's going to start listening to what I'm saying and it's going to start translating everything on the spot.
That's amazing. It still amazes me. I know I've seen it so many times.
So, as Teresa mentioned, this is a great tool to have if the most of the people in that presentation in the classroom speak that one language, right? So, if I have maybe like, that 40% of the kids speak Spanish and I want to be able to help them with something like this, or they speak Mandarin and I want to help them with something like this, then I could use the feature that just allows me to use subtitles, but it's going to get better than that, right? And Teresa's going to show you how much better it gets right now.
So that was amazing, but what I'm going to share with you is even amazinger. If that is a word. Just kidding. It's just as amazing, but you can actually add that as a layer on top of what he just talked about right now. So are you sharing my screen already?
I am.
Oh, you're so quick. Okay. So again, here I am in slideshow, just where Ricardo was, but I'm going to go down here to something called Present Live. And when you click on that, you can share that with people in your organization or anyone with the link. If you want, you can also start it from all the way on the right over here where it says present. You can click that and you could present live from here as well. So instead of talking about it, let's just show you what it does. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So I'm the presenter right now. I'm the teacher. So I'm going to click on present live. And what that does is, there we go. This will provide whoever is attending my session a QR code. Let's wait for a moment. Doesn't usually take that long, does it?
No,
There it is.
I think it is a little slow today, but it's going to work.
Perfect. Let me scoot this over. Okay. So if I was presenting, let's say for back to school night, or even for my students, if I have like maybe several students who might need this resource, before I start my presentation, I go ahead and present live, and then this will show up for them. And then you could try, so they can be on their device and they could look at the QR code, or they can actually join the session with this link right here. And then it tells me how many has joined. So right now I could see one person has joined, and I would probably wait a little bit to see if I can get a few more people. But at this point, just for the sake of our demonstration, I think I'm fine with that.
Hold on, Teresa. Let's go. Hold on
Sure.
for a second. I'm gonna
Okay.
actually try to join, and I know I have another person that is joining right now. And then something that you might notice is that Teresa can make that website access bigger by clicking on that little, or she can copy it, I believe, right? Teresa, what you can do right on top of the QR code, right there. What is that little thing? To just copy it? Is that what it
This
does to
one?
the right?
It just copies it.
It just copies, so you can provide it that way if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Nice. Okay, so I think we have 2 people that have joined, right?
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and let's start. I'm going to share first, Ricardo, and then I'm going to ask you to share what it looks like from your screen, from the person who's listening.
Perfect. And I think
Okay.
Teresa mentioned, if you notice on the bottom, it says only people in your organization can join right now. So if you were doing something like a parent conferences, I would switch that to anyone with the link can join.
Right. I agree. So at this point, let's say I'm ready. I have enough people in here. I go down here to show slides, and then I start my actual presentation. So I'm going to wait for a moment, and you don't know what's happening because it's actually happening on Ricardo's end, since he's the attendee right now. Oh, I'm getting a lot of hearts. Ricardo, let's go ahead and show them what it looks like from your end, and then we'll toggle back to me so I can show them the different features here.
Definitely. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like from 2 points of view. Okay. The first point of view that I'm going to show you is what it looks like if I was on a computer. Obviously, if the parents are at a meeting, they're probably going to be on the phone. But I want you to see if you were in class, kind of like our students were using it that I mentioned before. Okay. So notice that when Teresa talks, and Teresa, I just picked English. So let me switch my language right now, okay, to maybe Spanish. Okay. So I am a
Okay.
parent that only speaks Spanish. So when I come to Teresa's meeting, I am going to decide that I want to use Spanish right here.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm going to go ahead and start speaking. So we're going to pretend this is my meeting right now. And as I'm speaking, the parent, who is Ricardo, is now watching what I'm saying in the language of his choice. So if you could just imagine, all the parents can be on their devices. And as I'm giving my presentation in my language, they're able to follow along with their language. So just, I mean, that itself blew my mind when I saw it for the first time.
Something that Teresa is going to show you, and she'll show you right now, but you'll notice that as she goes to the presentation, she's going to move through the slides, and I'll let her do that right now as she's talking, and we'll come back to my screen.
Okay, I'll go ahead and so while we're here, Ricardo, can I just show the bottom part since we're already
Sure.
here? Okay, so Ricardo, like Ricardo said, I'm going to go through my slides, but what you'll notice on his side is that once you're there, you can actually, I'm getting lots of thumbs up. I like it. You can actually go through the slides that I've already gone through. You just can't go ahead of me. So if you need to kind of go back and look at what I'm talking about from slides prior, you could do that. You have the control to do that. And Ricardo's going to show that. So I'm just going to go to the third slide so that he has ability to show us that in a moment. But before we do that, let me just show the toolbar at the bottom, just so you know. Okay. So I'm just going to skip all the way ahead over here to this one. This is a subtitle one, and this is what Ricardo was doing earlier, but in my computer, I have it with English. So I could actually be doing both at the same time. I'm doing this, I could change it to Spanish. So the Spanish would be down at the bottom, and then I could have this live happening at the same time for parents and students who need it in a different language on their own device. So you can see I took what he did and I just added another layer to it. Okay, not better, just in addition to. Okay, so I could turn that on, or better, whatever. Another feature down here also is this one second to the last one. You click on that and you have some choices here. Let's say someone came in late. You can see at the very top of my screen, the link is still there. So if someone is joining late, they can still join. You know, you have those parents who kind of run in late, and that's fine. They can still log on. But if you need to, for some reason, copy the link, it's down here. And then if you want to, if too many people come in late and you want to show that welcome screen again, you can. You can click on that show welcome screen again. And right here, you can also show audience reactions. So we didn't go over this yet, but you already see Ricardo doing it. He's giving me reactions, thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces. That's great. I love it when I present to see all of that come through, and the people who attend also love that too. But maybe, I mean, for whatever reason, maybe you don't want people to see that. You could turn that off here. So whatever reactions they give, you actually don't see it live. Maybe it's distracting, or maybe you're not getting the best reactions. I'm not sure. So you can turn that on and off. And then you can also end session. And I'm not going to do that now because I want Ricardo to continue to demonstrate. But when I do end my session, it gives him the ability to rate my presentation as well. And then I get that feedback later on, which is really powerful. So I'm going to stop now.
So think about that parent that is listening to Teresa over here, right? Having the transcript right in front of me as she is speaking is just so powerful. I have the ability, like she said, to do those reactions that I was doing a second ago to, kind of like think about those students, right? Another level of engagement. I know we're not doing our engagement series, but what a level of engagement for the kids to be engaged in your PowerPoint, right? Notice that if by default, the transcript is to the right, but I can actually switch this and make the full PowerPoint come up. And when Teresa is presenting, go ahead, Teresa.
So I'm going to go ahead and speak right now so that you can see, and you can see that my words have moved from the right down to the bottom on top of the PowerPoint.
And just to show you how amazing this is, so I have a parent that is basically following this, like I said, in it's Spanish, but notice we have another parent maybe that is following this in a completely different language. And notice when Teresa speaks. Go ahead, Teresa.
So I'm going to go ahead and speak now. And this is what's typically going to happen. People are going to be on their mobile devices, right? So this is what it looks like on a mobile device. He chose a different language right here. I'm speaking in English, and then I'm assuming that that is Mandarin or Chinese traditional. And yeah, it's the same feature, but on their mobile device. Very cool. And you can turn it sideways to get the same view that he's showing you right now, which is the PowerPoint with the overlay of the subtitles.
And think about, I know we're talking about parents and being able to use this with our parents, but think about that student, right? That might need that additional time. So he's trying to process, he's trying to listen, he's trying to understand what's being said in a different language that he doesn't know. So he might have missed something that Teresa covered on a slide. So the student, without interrupting the teacher, without interrupting Teresa, can go back to the PowerPoints, the prior slides, go forward up to the point to where the teacher, or in this case, Teresa, is right now, without interrupting, being able to see all of that stuff.
That's amazing. And I know teachers were concerned at first. And I said, no, they can't go ahead of you. They can't jump ahead. They can just go as far as you've gone. So that's very powerful to be able to go back and revisit what I went through earlier. So yeah, definitely.
Right. Do you want to go ahead and end it? Did we cover everything, Teresa, on this particular?
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and end it so that they could see that survey that we were talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and end it right now. End session.
And notice that this is what Teresa was talking about. When she ends, I can actually give her feedback. I can say, you know what, that was great. And I can tell her, the slide design, speaker skills, content, interaction with audience, and I can submit this. And I think Teresa gets a report from each person.
I do. And I didn't have to set any of this up at all. This already existed. I didn't have to do anything. And what? Okay, thank you. I was about to say. And so the great thing is I get an email later with all of the feedback from my presentation, which is, I mean, I've used this before in other trainings, and it's so amazing to be able to get that feedback. So,
and something that we tell our teachers is that in reality, you don't need to have a whole PowerPoint presentation. Okay. If you just wanted to use the amazing tool of subtitles, you could just come into Office 365 and just create a new blank presentation, just one slide that is blank. Okay. And just go to slideshow. Okay. Make sure when you go there, make sure that your subtitles are on. Okay. So let's just go ahead and go subtitles. I'm not putting anything in my presentation. Maybe this is something that I have available for my students that are following on that device, and I have it just set up on a different computer, right? I'm using my .com and I'm talking to all of my students, and I have this set up, and I come in here and I open subtitles, and notice that now I did not have to create a whole PowerPoint. It's just a blank slide, but the students are able to follow along.
That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, are we ready to go on to our next thing?
Yes, we are.
All right, so the next one we're going to be talking about is actually Microsoft Translate. Okay, so right here it's translator.microsoft.com, and this is where I would start. So let's say I was using this maybe during like a back to school night or during parent conferences or anything at all. We're going to go ahead and show it to you, and then you could think of the different ways that you can use this. So when you go to translator.microsoft.com, you come over here, and then you start conversation. I'm going to go ahead and log on. Okay, so once I've logged on, now I can start a conversation. So I just enter my own name. Oops, I might want to spell my name correctly. And I enter the language that I'm going to be speaking with. So I'm going to be speaking in English, and I'm going to start conversation. And then Ricardo's going to show you what it looks like from his end to join this conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and just start. And then it just kind of takes you through the steps right here. Next, start a conversation, ask to scan or enter your conversation code. Ricardo's going to show us that. Speak or type. Present to large groups. Test my microphone. I'm not going to test it because I think I was fine. Or should I text it, Ricardo?
Sure, if you want to.
Sure, why not? Oops. Oh, see, good thing I did it. I had to allow it. My microphone is correctly set up. Very amazing. So I'm going to continue. Microphone stays on. Mute others. That's up to you. These are settings. Ricardo, do you have any preference with these settings?
So yes, so this is something that is just going to depend on you. If you decide to put the microphone on, it's always going to be listening to you. So it's going to translate anything you're saying. So if you go and ask someone a question, that it's going to translate that. That might not be part of your presentations, right? So we've seen people that actually leave it off and they click the button every time they want to talk and present something, so that they're more secure of what they're actually sharing with the parents or with the students, right? The ability to mute others is that you are strictly presenting. so nobody else is basically able to ask a question in the middle of the presentation. So I've seen principals that use it like this, and they'll turn that they're unmute at the end so people can ask questions, so they don't do it in the middle of the presentation. So completely up to what you prefer. If you
That's a
want to
good
be
idea,
able,
actually. Yeah.
if you want to let people just ask questions that you present, and you're going to see them right on the spot, and it might get distracting as you have 50 people asking questions at the
So
same
I
time.
so I think as if I was presenting to a big group, I would definitely mute others and then turn it on later. But if I was, for example, I was just talking to Ricardo, who might be a parent or something, or just someone else who speaks a different language, then I would not worry so much about that. And the mic stays on. I'm going to turn that on right now because I'm just going to let it go ahead and record whatever I'm saying. Because if I don't do that, then I need to press on this green thing every time I speak, and I have a tendency to forget to do that. And I say all these amazing things, and I'm not even translating for
But
anybody.
the just to add, the unmute might be something that you want to be able to leave it off, because you're in a class teaching students, and you want to have those two kids that want to feel part of the class to be able
Mm-hmm.
to participate and ask questions, right? And then to
Mm-hmm.
be able to participate will be a great thing to have. So I'm going to try to join, and Teresa, can you send me that code on the
Right here.
chat so I can take it? Yeah,
Sure.
please.
So I'm going to go ahead and so as you see, there's this QR code, and I also what I did right now, I just copied the link, and I'm going to send this to Ricardo really quickly so that he can join. Oops. I hope I did that correctly. And so if you noticed earlier when I created this, there was another tab that said join. So you could have taken the parents there, and they would go to join, and then they could put in this conversation code. There's so many different ways to get here, but very, very easy. Okay, so go ahead, Rico.
Would you like me to show them what it looks like? So I
Yeah,
took that code basically, and it says join. I hope this is the same one. No, that's not the same one. So let's do it again. So it's going to PowerPoint Live. Therese, did you give me the right one on the chat?
I did. Let me do it again. This is real life, folks. I'm sorry. Oh, I copied this one, and for some reason,
Yeah, it gave me a different. It gave me the
yeah,
PowerPoint Live one.
that's so funny. I did it again right now, and it did it again. So, anyways, I gave you the right one.
Now I have it. I'm sorry. I thought it was me.
I mean, yeah, it's you. Totally your fault.
Right. Yeah. Right. So now that I have the correct one.
Oh, so that screen that Ricardo's showing you right now, you could have simply just, typed it in there, in this.
Uh-huh.
Could have.
So again, you could have a parent that is joining from a device like a computer or a student, right? And it's going to look exactly like this. And I'm just going to join, and I'm going to type my name. Okay. And I'm going to say that my language is, let's speak Spanish for this particular one. Okay. Something that I want to show you. This is pretty incredible. Okay. So if that parent actually wanted to hear you, not read, okay, Microsoft actually has all these languages of speech to text, so they actually will be able to put their headphones on and actually hear what you are saying in their language. Okay, so notice all of the ones that we have available in here, and the text only, which is what's going to basically do the same thing we did with PowerPoint a second ago. But this Microsoft Translate, as Teresa is showing you, gives you a whole different dimension where you actually have speech to text language, so they'll actually be able to hear what Teresa is saying. So I'm going to pick
I wish
Spanish.
you could demonstrate that.
We might be able to. So
We
let's
might
see
be.
if we
We'll
can do
see.
this. Okay. So let's pick for this particular one. I'm going to pick Spanish for me, but I want you to see that it looks exactly the same on the phone. If I bring the mobile device, I took that QR code that Teresa had, and I can say join. Okay. And it's going to ask the same thing. And for this particular one, let's pick a different language. Let's pick Chinese traditional. Okay. And then let's go ahead and enter. Okay. And let's go ahead and enter on this one too. Okay, it's going to explain. And notice that because I picked Spanish, now it's explaining to me in Spanish. Okay, so they're actually very smart that the parent can see this in Spanish. Okay, I'm going to close that so we can see it. If Teresa would have allowed me to ask questions,
I
remember
did.
she did. I don't know if she muted me or not. I'll
I
be able
didn't.
to. So let me go ahead and try the mic. Okay, allow. Okay, continue on. Okay, so now I'm actually in there. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to speak right now, and hopefully, is it
Let me
working for me?
Yeah, let me move out of the way, this out of the way, so I can see it on both sides. So you can see it on both sides.
Testing,
So
testing. Okay, there we go.
so notice I saw what she said both in Spanish over here and also in Mandarin. Go ahead, Teresa. Just
All right, so So my green button disappeared. Do I have to keep pressing it now?
Yeah, I don't think you picked this, so you actually have to
I thought I
click it.
did pick it. Okay, so you can see that I'm speaking right now, and I'm speaking in English, and you can see on his end, you can see it's translating for him, and you can see on the mobile device, it's also translating in a whole different language. So all the things that we've shown you thus far have been the presenter, speaking in my language, and then the whoever's watching or participating be able to watch and listen in their own language. But now at this point, Ricardo's also going to be able to ask in his language, and I'm going to be able to see it in English so that we can interact with one another. So did you want to try that,
So
Ricardo?
notice that I'm going to switch the screen to Teresa's screen, who is the presenter.
And so I could see my transcript over here. I could see myself. And then at this moment, hopefully I
Señora
give him...
Teresa, yo tengo una pregunta. Señora, yo tengo una pregunta.
Oh, I see. I have a parent here who has a question. So just imagine, so if he didn't speak any English and I didn't speak any Spanish, here we are actually being able to have this amazing conversation, which would have never been able to happen without a tool like this. So I'm sorry I pressed the button too late, but I think hopefully you're understanding what I'm saying right now.
No, I'm seeing exactly what's going on this side. And again, right, I am completely functioning in Spanish. And I'm actually, believe it or not, because I selected the text to speech, I can hear it. I wish you guys could hear it. But when Teresa's speaking in English, I can actually hear it in Spanish on my side.
Sad
I
that
know.
they can't hear that. It's okay. We'll figure it out. Share sound or something. I don't know. Anyways, but we just wanted to share that because that, again, like we started with things that were just really for the presenter, and now this is for both parties. Now we can interact with one another, and I can answer those questions. And I remember being a teacher and like wishing and hoping that I have a translator in my session to help me out, but I wouldn't need one. I wouldn't have to hope and pray for one. I could actually use this tool to help me and to help the parents and the kids as well.
And notice how Teresa kind of went on a side conversation, and this would be a great point where she didn't have the mic pressed, right? So that didn't get translated, right? No, I'm just saying that, think about how you will use it too, right?
Yes, yeah. So you think about that
Mhm.
and make the right decision.
Teresa, did you want to show the settings on top next to the people, just so they can see the
Sure.
presenter's ability right there? Yeah, thank you.
Right here.
Mhm.
Sure. There you go. You want to go through it?
No, go ahead. I mean, it's pretty, you can see it right there.
So this one, what I thought I had chosen earlier, but for some reason disappeared. And you know what? I think what happened is when someone joined, then it kind of reset. So I had that ability to kind of choose it again. Okay, so I could have the mic stay on if I wanted to, but Ricardo, like he warned me, be careful. I could mute others, which if it was a big group, I would turn on, I think, and turn back off. I can mask profanity. I could lock the conversation. Ricardo, have you locked the conversation before?
I have actually, yes. When it might get out of hand, right? You have too many people trying to answer questions or ask questions and so on and so on. So I just kind of lock it right there. So we kind of stop, yeah, and then we come back to it, yeah.
I see. Okay. And then play speech output, play text to speech. To stop the audio, turn this setting off. Okay. Does that affect you?
Yeah, so let me show you what that looks like from the
Yeah.
point of, and we might be able to show them what it looks like. So I have the same settings from the person that has joined the conversation, right? Which is the presenter. But notice what I was talking about. I picked a language that actually can be reproduced right here. So I can say, yeah, I want to be able to hear the voice in my own language. And I can say, I want a girl or a voice to the voice. And also, I'm from Mexico, so I want the region of the voice to be Mexican, but I can also do Spain right now.
Wow.
So Teresa, if you press the button right now
I'm gonna
and
go
you
ahead and
say
press it.
something, go ahead.
All right. So testing. Just wondering if this is working right now.
And it is.
Probando. Solo preguntándome si esto está funcionando en este momento.
Can you do it again, please?
Sure. This is so amazing. Teresa is the best.
No, you didn't press the
I have
button.
to press the button. Oh, I ruined that whole moment, didn't I? Okay. This is so amazing. Teresa is no longer the best.
Esto es tan asombroso. Teresa ya no es la mejor.
It is just incredible. I mean, we're able to show you that's what I wanted to make sure we show.
So from my screen, Ricardo, if you can see, I also play speech output, and I also have the voice gender and things like that on my end if I wanted to. Okay.
Yeah. So think about now the parent that speaks Spanish is actually going to ask that question in Spanish, and Teresa can actually listen, not just read it, but listen to it in English.
Yeah, so that we don't have to be staring at the screen, like reading what each other is saying. We could be speaking into it and actually hearing it. It's like it's a natural conversation. I love it so much. Okay, so over here, I also have the choice to. Are you showing mine again, Ricardo?
Let me show it again. Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you. Okay, so down here I have the ability to show partial messages, which display incomplete translation as they become available. So like I forgot to press it and it kind of started in mid-sentence and it still showed it, which is fine. And then I have the different themes as well. Like, oh, that one's kind of cool. And the different font sizes. I love it. Anything else, Ricardo, that I'm missing on this one?
Yeah, I believe when you finish the conversation and you close it, the person that is attending also has the ability to keep the transcripts if they choose to, which is kind of a great thing to have too.
Ooh, how do I do that?
I think, is there a way for you to end? Is it the last one, the little green one on top?
This says leave conversation, so I think that might be it. Thank you, Ricardo. I'm going to click that now. Are you sure you want to end this conversation? The conversation will end for all participants. Oh, so right here, download transcript.
There it is.
So I could download that. And what's great is that I also had Ricardo's part in the transcript as well. So I could record the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the conversation. Awesome. What did it show on your end when I left the conversation?
And so I also got the sample, but I get to save it in Spanish because everything on mine is in Spanish. Notice right here. So guardar transcripción en español. Pretty incredible.
How useful that is for a back to school night, right? As parents, we can't remember everything. Just have the transcript. That would be great. All right. So I think that was all for the Microsoft Translator, Ricardo. I think we wanted to show them on.
Yes, so I mean that in itself is incredible, right? But we wanted to make sure that you also got to see this same Microsoft Translator in the app. This is available both on iOS or Android. I'm going to show it to you from an Android point of view right now. So I went to the App Store and I downloaded Microsoft Translate. When you go in there, it's the one that looks like this. You probably saw it on Teresa's screen when we were using it. So I'm going to open it. Okay, so let's go ahead and open it. Okay, and then when you go in here, notice that I had joined Teresa's conversation before, so that's how I had joined, and that's what it's showing you. So let me leave that, okay? And it's gonna tell me, you have the ability to save it and so on and so on. So I just left the conversation. So we have seen principals that have used just the phone, as I mentioned. They start the conversation from here, okay? And they say their name, and they say that they're going to be speaking English. So one way of using it, just really quick, okay? And they enter, and they put their phone in their pocket, or they might even attach a mic to it, and now they project this on the big screen for parents to join. And it's going to be the same idea, basically, that we did a second ago, okay? So it's going to be the same idea that we had a second ago, just so you know.
Did you want me to join, Ricardo?
Did you want? I think we already showed how it looks like from
Mm-hmm.
because it's basically going to be the same experience that we just did through the desktop version that you showed. So this was I just want to make sure that you saw that this is an option that you do have, and as people enter, the same idea will happen here. Basically, you will have the same idea. Notice that we have the same options in here, so it's basically the same. Okay, but I wanted to show you. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that, okay? But I wanted to show you that there's a lot more in the app, okay? So I want to show you. This is my. So let's kind of move on and see one of my favorite tools. Actually, think about that student that is in your class that again just came from a different country, doesn't speak the language, and they're using a book that is completely in English. They can't understand anything. Or that parent that received that letter in English and they don't understand this. So if I click on this little camera right here, just to show you, it's going to open my camera, okay? And let's say that I had this book in front of me, okay? Let's go ahead and go there, okay? I can put it right in front, okay? And I can take a picture. And notice that it's going to overlay the text in Spanish for me. So this is incredible. So we have exactly what was on that paper translated to the language of choice. So I just want to make sure that you saw that.
Gosh. I know as a teacher, we want to send home our notices and things like that in the languages that are required at home. And sometimes we can't get someone to translate fast enough, or there's just too many different languages. And so if we teach the parents or teach the families how to use this, just imagine they'll be able to access all the things that you need to send home for open communication. And wow.
Yeah, I just took a copy of it that just basically went to my phone as a picture. So now I have it in my own language. Okay, just very, very simple to do. Okay, and then over here, the keyboard is just basically for you to just type something, and I'll just go in there, and you'll be able to type, and then it'll detect what how is. So maybe I'm traveling, right? Maybe I'm saying, "Where's the bathroom?" Right? But I did something completely different.
Where
Uh,
is the best meal?
yeah, right. And then you'll be able to translate it in here as you go, and you decide which language it is, and then it should do it. And I'm not sure why. There you go, and it's going to do it for you right there too. Okay, if you wanted to do it that way. Okay, something that we noticed that is brand new and we hadn't noticed before in the bottom, there's a little book right here that I'm going to click on it, and notice that it's a phrase book that is going to give you essential
Oh,
phrases, travel and directions, lodging. So actually you can take this with you when you travel and be able to use
see?
a lot of these different tools are available right here. Okay, so that was the Microsoft Translate app that is available for you on iPhone or on Android. There's one more thing that we wanted to show you, and at our district, we have access to all Office 365 tools, which include Microsoft OneNote. One of the tools inside of OneNote is the ability to use notebooks with our students where they can keep their notes and do assignments if they wanted to, and so on and so on. And you can actually bring the power of Microsoft Translate and OneNote together, and you're going to see what's going to happen. So I'm back where Teresa showed you Microsoft Translate before. I'm not sure if we mentioned this before, but notice that they have a new feature where you can reuse your codes. So for the principal that has those monthly meetings, they can use the same code with the parents instead of having to create a new code every time. So all the parents have access to it. Or for those students in that class that are always going to be accessing your transcripts and your translate sessions, right? They could use the same code too. But I'm just going to start a new conversation. I'm going to log in with Microsoft, okay, and I'm going to just add my name. I'm going to speak English for this particular demo. Okay, so let me start. Okay, and notice that it's going to show me some tips right here. I'm just going to close them. It's going to ask about my mic, so let me go ahead and click on it, and then notice that it's working now. So let me continue. Okay, I'm going to leave the mic stays on. I'm going to leave it off and mute others. I'm going to leave that off too. Okay, and let me press OK. So now that I'm here, what I want you to see is that I'm going to show you Teresa's screen. Okay, and she is in Microsoft OneNote.
So here I am in OneNote, and I can go over here at the top and I go to View on the ribbon. And then over here, I go all the way to the right and click on Live Captions. And then it's going to ask me to enter a join code that Ricardo had mentioned earlier. So I think, did you put it in the chat, Ricardo?
It is there.
HWJ. Okay, and I'm going to choose Spanish since he's speaking in English just for fun. Let me go ahead and, is it under Spanish?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, here you go. And I'm going to click join.
Okay, and now from my side, I can see that I have a student that has joined. But what I want you to see, if I start using my translate and I start speaking in English, you're going to notice what's going to happen in Teresa's OneNote over there. It's translating in real time what I'm saying in
Wow.
Spanish. Right, Teresa?
That's amazing. Well, since now you're speaking in English, you can go ahead and go through these steps, and I'll just go ahead and these features, and I'll just go ahead and do it.
And just so you know that I'm actually seeing what Teresa's saying too over here. So as a teacher, I can see what she's saying. So if she had a question, I could actually see that question on this side. But notice, so I am talking, and Teresa has a lot of options actually. As she is looking at my transcript, she actually can go and use the highlighter. Well, actually, you know what? So she can concentrate. Actually, she can go and use the highlighter, pick any color, and be able to highlight notes that might be important to her of something that I said that she might want to go back and revisit later on, right? Maybe the font is too small. She has the ability to go in there and change the size of the font if she wanted to. Notice how bigger it got. The other great tool that she has available in here is that she can actually pause me, okay? And just by pausing me, doesn't mean that the translator on OneNote is not listening to me. It's still listening, but maybe she wants to go back and check something, and she's kind of just basically put me on the side. She's not listening to me because she wanted to make sure that she catches this particular point that I said, okay? But notice that if she unpauses now, or she presses pause, everything that I said is still there. Okay, she did not lose anything, okay? OneNote remembers what I was saying and is going to put it there for her, okay? She could copy anything that I said from there and put it on her notes if she wanted to. And I don't know if you want to show them that, Teresa.
I'm trying that right now, but you're speaking so fast. Okay, I'm going to turn off the highlighter. There you go. And then I'm going to try to copy something. I'm just going to stick it in my OneNote right here. There
And
you go.
notice that she has that particular important part that I might have said in there too, right? But it gets way better than that. She doesn't have to do that, right, Teresa? And why is that?
I actually don't even have to do that. I can go over here. It created this tab for me, this section called transcripts. And you can see that we've been playing with this all day today. And I can go to the latest one. And then I could see that the transcripts were all brought into here with my highlighting. So it's all in here. I didn't have to do anything. And so as a student, I can now go into this at any time and see what I missed and review whatever was being covered. So that's really cool.
Pretty
In my
incredible.
language. Right? I love it. Is that all?
I think that I wanted to mention, and again, going to be fair, let's say that you wanted to use captions on Google Slides, you do have that option. You don't have the option to translate as we did today, and we wanted to make sure that we talk about accessibility today and being able to be part of the classroom and feel part of the classroom. So we wanted to show you the ability to translate too. But if you wanted to use PowerPoint Translate just for captions, you could do that too.
Very cool. Yeah, sorry. I keep asking you if there's more just because I know we're trying to watch the time and trying to see if we could add more. And you see that we actually added more than we had scheduled. So I'm really happy that we actually got to this because I think this is one of the best things. So I'm really happy that we actually got to go through all of those things. But if that is all, Ricardo, is there anything else?
I think that is it. I think we're going to continue with our series next week. And I think we're going to be talking about writing tools. Is that correct?
I think we might be having some guest speakers, so we're not sure if we're going to be doing math or writing, depending on our guest speakers. So we're going to keep you posted on that. But same time, same day. So just join us again next week on Thursday. Go Dodgers!
Go Dodgers! Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.